common question that I get a lot, particularly during streams, is how do I do my pinnacles? What order do I do my pinnacles? When should I be doing my pinnacles? And this is obviously way after, like, day 1, week 1 stuff. So we're just going to be talking about pinnacles. In this video, I'm not going to mention, you know, oh, do powerfuls first, do the blah, blah, blah. Like, no, we're just talking about pinnacles. And some people may not realize it, but there is a method to the madness in how you do your pinnacles. This year in Witch Queen, it's not as, like, specific as recent past years, such as when Prophecy dropped. What I mean by that is some activities have a certain drop rate for things. For example, the just mentioned Prophecy, you knew that the final boss 100% guarantee had armor as the final boss drop. Yes, there was a chest that you can get a gun in, but that was not the pinnacle. It was always armor 100%. And what this did was allow people to min-max and calculate. I sound like such a nerd right now in the Wonder Woman math class. You could calculate if a armor piece dropping for you would push you to the next level, or how good of a drop it would be for you, for your character, to progress your leveling. So that's kind of what I'm going with here in this video. Which pinnacles you should do first or not. Which ones give you +1, which ones give you +2, blah, 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 all that. So let's get started. I'm just going to show the director while I'm talking about this. So the only pinnacles in the game, currently anyway, that will give you +1 are only Vanguard Strikes, not Nightfall, Vanguard Strikes, Gambit, and then Crucible. Specifically, I'm talking about Quick Play or Clash, whatever, all this. Not Comp, not Iron Banner, Quick Play. So, like, oh, mine's already done, obviously, but it will say 0 out of 3 Pinnacle gear. This is a +1, Gambit's a +1, and Vanguard Strikes are a +1. As you see right there, it says Pinnacle gear. This is a +1 Pinnacle. So whatever your base light is, so for example, let's pretend there's no cap. I'm 1560. A +1 would be 1561. Now, the last +1 that exists in the game currently is actually Hawthorne. I know, I'm sure people are going to say, but it says powerful gear. No, 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 no. This has literally been bugged for years. Literal years, by the way. It's actually a +1 pinnacle, but it's bugged saying powerful gear. I don't know if Bungie knows about it, or maybe they just don't care because it's not like a big deal. It's not in the sense of like they don't give a damn, but like in the sense of like it's not high on the priority list, you know? Anyway, Hawthorne is actually a +1 pinnacle, 100% without a doubt. Don't read into the thing on screen. It is a +1 pinnacle. Now, everything else in the game that is a pinnacle is a +2. This includes the Nightfall, 100k, +2. It includes the dungeon. This is not what the dungeon is. Never mind. Grasp of Avarice, the final boss, Avaric, pinnacle. There's pinnacle, +2. And then pretty much everything else is related to the Throne World. You have Vow of Disciple, obviously, the raid, Preservation, the mission, and then Vox Obscura, and Wellspring. And, of course, the weekly story mission. All these are +2s. So, the way you want to look at it is basically anything tied to the Vanguard Tower is +1, and then anything outside of that is +2. That's an easy way to remember it. Now, let's talk about which ones you should or should not be doing ahead of other ones. There's a couple of things regarding some pinnacles that you need to know to kind of help you know whether you should do them or not. For example, if you go to Dares of Eternity, the pinnacle, 100% without a doubt, will always be a weapon. The loot table for Dares is literally just the weapons. There's no armor tied to it, so it's always going to be a weapon. It's either going to be one of the swords, or the shoddy, the GL, the trace rifle, or the pulse. So it's always going to be a weapon. In this instance, when you're leveling, if you know that your weapons are lacking in the upgrades department, then you should just go do Dares first, because you know that'll be an immediate upgrade. Now, let's say you're on your second character for the week, and you've completed your first character. More than likely, your second character is going to be leveling, and that character will be in dire need of armor. So, because of that, you know that you should be avoiding Dares on your second character until the very last minute, until your armor is caught up to the point where you getting a weapon pinnacle will not be a complete dead drop and be a waste of your time. By the way, I just realized I contradicted myself a little bit earlier. This is technically tied to the Vanguard, and it will give you a pinnacle. It is actually a +2 pinnacle, not a +1. I thought I'd just throw that back in here before somebody roasts me in the comments saying I forgot to mention this. But the Psyops Battleground Pinnacle does give you a +2, and also doesn't immediately drop when you kill 10 champions. You can actually pick it up whenever you want. That's a good little tip to know. You can just cook it, basically, until you're ready to pick it up. Now, moving back to the original point. So, for Grasp of Avarice, the final boss gives you a pinnacle drop. Now, the key thing to know about this final boss is he works somewhat similar to how the Kel Echo worked in Prophecy. Now, you can get weapon drops from the final boss, so it's not entirely like Kel Echo, but he does have a limited loot pool depending on your difficulty. So, for example, if you complete Grasp of Avarice on normal, the loot table for the boss is literally the entire thing. All the armor pieces and all of the weapons, you can get anything from him, right? However, if somehow you are high enough in artifact power and you're able to complete the master version of Grasp, then Avarice can actually drop you any of the 5 armor pieces, or, and only, 1,000 Yard Stare and Ias Luna. Those are the only 2 weapons that he can drop on Mastery. He will not drop you the sword, the shoddy, none of that, alright? So this is helpful because, let's say you're in dire need of armor. The analogy I just used, you're on character number 2 and you know you need armor, right? Well, in the instance of completing the Master, Avarice will be dropping a 5 out of 7 chance an armor piece. I mean, clearly you can still get screwed by RNG. You can get one of the 2 weapons. But you can see the percentages will be in your favor. 5 out of 7 chance to get an armor piece, that's pretty good. That's better than I'm just going to go into a random activity and pray, you know? So that's another thing to know about Grasp that I'm sure not everyone knew about. Finally, I wanted to just talk about the raid real quick. Now, most people should be aware of this by now, but in case you are new to raiding and you don't know, each encounter has a set loot pool that it can drop in the raid. Because of this, you can actually know what each encounter can drop and then kind of snipe through the encounters, doing a particular encounter where you would need to drop the most. So let me pull up the loot table real quick on your screen. So I just want to reiterate, this is really just for min-max and going super specific in the numbers. You don't have to do this as a, let's say, a casual player that only plays like a couple of times a week, or you just want to blow through the raid all in one go. You don't want to be like, save this checkpoint, then go back, then go to the beginning, then go to the end. Like, this is specifically just for people who want to maximize to the 10th power. So here we go. Acquisition. You can get the SMG, the fusion, and linear fusion, and then a helmet, chest, legs. Caretaker, you can get SMG, pulse, linear, GL, head, arms, class item, then SMG, fusion, head, chest, legs, and then finally pulse, GL, and glaive, and then head, arms, class item. Now, 2 things to note here. Obviously, the loot is all over the place, and you can get armor in each encounter. However, one's master does drop eventually, and I guess plus the challenge chest as well. For master mode, more than likely, I imagine it'll be only armor drops, and then the challenge of the week will be giving you a weapon. So for master, it'll be like, let's say, acquisition, it will be like head, chest, legs, and then one of the 3 that you see on screen would be the adept version. Let's say it'll be the SMG just because it's kinetic. Now, you can use this knowledge to your advantage, because if you ever need a kinetic slot, pinnacle in particular, so let's say it's even Deliverance, the SMG or Deliverance, and you knew it was the acquisition challenge for that week, if you do the challenge, by default, you will guarantee yourself a armor drop and then the adept weapon, netting you the exact thing that you needed. So this works for every encounter when Val drops. I believe it is April 19th for Master, so that knowledge is valuable if you're still going to be pinnacle leveling by then. So I thought I would mention that, and that's essentially it currently in Witch Queen. We don't have anything else that really has the same kind of information use other than the things that I mentioned just now. But if there will be, then I will update this video, but I don't expect there to be. So that's it. Hopefully this little terrible rambling math message helps you guys out in pinnacle leveling, and I'll catch you in the next one.